Okay, well, the weather certainly not nearly as controversial. Leslie, what's it looking like for this New Year's Eve?
It looks great, Tracy. It is going to be a big change, though, for us coming up in about 2 days' time. So it's a good thing that New Year's Eve is tonight. We've got cold weather coming to Central Florida in about 2 days. 76 is our current temperature in Orlando, 77 in Kissimmee, 75 in Sanford, mid-70s across the board. It has been a warm New Year's Eve for Central Florida, and that trend continues through tomorrow for our first day of 2012, and then things are going to change pretty dramatically as a very strong cold front moves through Central Florida. It's not going to bring in much rain. Live Guardian radar is showing no rain across Central Florida, and this trend should stay tomorrow and into tomorrow night when the front moves through. But guaranteed Tuesday, you're going to notice the change. This will be the coldest air of the season as a very powerful cold front starts to move into Central Florida, taps into some very cold air to the north, brings our temperatures down into the 30s Tuesday morning, and we will be below normal all week long next week. So it's going to be very chilly across Central Florida. But as you can see here across the southeast, things are very quiet for now, but things will be changing in about 2 days' time. The forecast for tonight for folks that are headed out and about looking good. We expect 60 degrees here in the metro Orlando area, clear skies. There might be a little fog out there tonight, but I'm not expecting much of that. We'll talk a little bit more about the New Year's Eve forecast in detail, this cold snap that's coming in just a few minutes.
All right, so weather-wise,
it looks great tonight. Yeah. You know, a lot of folks are going to be out in downtown Orlando, and it's kind of funny. If this cold front had come here 2 nights ago, people would be really bundled up. It's going to be really cold. Coldest air we've seen all season coming here Tuesday morning. It is going to be a nice switch for those of us that like the cold weather, but it's not coming tonight, folks. We end this year warm, and we kick off 2012 warm as well, but then things are going to change. Our highs today were in the mid to upper 70s across the board. We were 78 in Melbourne, 77 in Kissimmee, 77 in Orlando. And again, this is about 6-7 degrees above the norm, but things are changing, folks, as this very powerful cold front comes in. It's been a very warm winter. We haven't had a lot to talk about weather-wise, but that is going to change, my friends, as all of that will be ahead of some very cold air moving into Central Florida. Live Guardian radar, very clear. As you can see, we don't have too much going on. We've got our 4 radar scans all across Central Florida, and actually the cold front doesn't bring in much change for us in terms of rainfall. Now, I know we really could use that, but they're just not going to really see that play out with this particular cold front, but it is going to tap in to some very cold air behind it. In the meantime, here's high pressure. That's what's controlling the weather for now. That will move off the coast and over into the Atlantic states tomorrow and late into tomorrow night. And then that cold front comes in behind it, and that's going to bring in that pretty dramatic change. So next 24 hours, no big changes if you've got plans or family coming in tonight or tomorrow. Again, the weather perfect for us, but look at this very cold air that's across the nation. We've got temperatures in the 20s and 30s, and the jet stream taking a big dive across the U.S., and that's going to just spill all that very cold weather across much of the nation. Most of us will be struggling to get out of the 60s on Tuesday afternoon, and we stay below normal all week long. There's that cold front as we put it into motion, starting to move closer towards the Central Florida area. There is an area of low pressure that's going to spin up and produce some rain showers across the Great Lakes. It moves into Central Florida, as I mentioned, late Monday night and into Tuesday. Just don't expect to see a lot of rainfall with that, but it will tap into that very cold air across the eastern half of the country. In the meantime, for the big festivities tonight, it's going to be mild. I would not bring a jacket. You don't need it. 64 is our forecast for tonight. 62 for 10 o'clock. As you ring in the new year, we're at 60 degrees, and then through the overnight, about 58 degrees. And there might be a little patchy fog out there. So if you'll be out and about past the stroke of midnight enjoying the new year, there might be a little bit of limited roadway traveling on the roadways with that fog. So be extra careful for that. Other than that, though, things are looking good for us across Central Florida. As we head into the forecast tonight, we'll be in the mid-50s across the Central Florida area along the beaches. 53 for Vero Beach, 55 for Sebastian. Inland, again, mid-50s. No big changes here. 53 for Claremont, 52 for Leesburg, and 51 for Ocala. As we get into the first day of 2012, again, another warm one. Winds will be out of the north to northwest at about 10. Mid-70s will take us across the board. 76 for Daytona Beach, 77 Sanford, 77 Orlando, and 76 is the forecast for Kissimmee. All right, here's your 7-day. Big changes are coming as we get into Monday. Monday morning, 55 degrees, but look at that. The daytime high only 65, and then a big change comes Tuesday. 39 is our forecast low. We are expecting some higher winds, so there could be a wind chill advisory on Tuesday. Our daytime high, look at that, 56 degrees, 37 on Wednesday, 62 is the daytime high, and then we're gradually warming up, Tracy, by the end of the week, but it's going to be chilly for the next 4 to 5 days.
All right, a little bit of everything for everyone. Thanks a lot, Leslie. All right, Jennifer, have fun. Thank you for that. And meantime, we're going to have fun here, Leslie and I, holding down the fort. So, Leslie, I never asked you, what are your plans for the night?
Going to a friend's house, hopefully going to ring in the new year with my little ones and some family and friends. So we'll see how it goes. How about you?
Awesome. Well, quiet night with the husband.
Nice.
Not so bad. So we'll get out of here at 11, and you should, if you hurry, make it there on time.
And try and get there, right?
All right, but weather's looking pretty good, right?
It is. It's looking great. It's very mild out there. So folks really don't have to prepare weather-wise as you head out the door. I know we're talking about this cold front. You've probably heard about it. You've been watching us, and it is coming, but it's about another 2 days away. So no big changes for us right now. In fact, it is going to be downright warm for Central Florida as well. They said warm in New York City. Well, guess what? It's going to be warm for us as well. We are currently in the mid-70s across Central Florida. That will stay with us through the remainder of tonight. Temperature is not forecast to change all that much for us tonight, but as we get into tomorrow, we're going to start to see that cold front approach, and then late tomorrow night and definitely into Tuesday, things are going to be changing. Wanted to take you up into Washington, D.C., show you how they're doing as they're getting ready to prepare for New Year's Eve festivities. 54 right now, so it's mild all along the Atlantic seaboard. Winds out of west-northwest there at about 11 miles an hour. And again, that's unusual for those folks as well. But all of us across the eastern half of the country are expecting this very big cold front to come into play. Right now, high pressure is controlling our weather, so the forecast doesn't change too much tonight and into tomorrow. But then after that, late tomorrow and into Mondays when we'll start to see that cold front move into the area, and that will bring in significantly colder weather. I'm talking about 20, 30 degrees colder than it has been for the daytime high. So big changes are coming. All right, here's our forecast hour by hour for tonight. 62 is what we expect at 8 o'clock tonight. Just before midnight, about 59 degrees through the overnight into 2012 into the mid 50s. Sunrise will be in the mid 50s as well. And then 8 a.m. forecasting about 56 degrees in Central Florida. So the changes for us will not be for another day or so, but then you're going to really notice it, as you can see here across live Guardian radar, clear as a whistle, and the cold front actually doesn't bring in rain either. We'll talk a lot more about that and show you the breakdown for the New Year's Eve forecast in just a few minutes. All right, we're getting closer and closer to the New Year festivities and the weather. Perfect, guys. Don't worry about this tonight as you're headed out the door in Central Florida. All across the area, it's going to be great. In fact, very mild for Central Florida. Live Guardian radar at this hour, very clear. There is a cold front coming into Central Florida. It gets here Monday and into Tuesday, so no changes for us through tonight and into the first part of tomorrow. But then we're going to start to see some pretty dramatic weather headed our way. Here's the headlines. A warm start to 2012. A strong cold front is on the way, and winter returns. Now, I know it officially has started, but we really haven't seen it here. It's been very warm. Guess what? Temperatures in Tuesday and Wednesday will struggle, and I mean struggle, to get out of the 50s for daytime highs. A big cool down is underway. We'll detail that coming up here. All right, here's a look at our water vapor. Things very quiet for us on this New Year's Eve. This indicates dry air in the atmosphere. All of that orange means it's very stable, so there's no big changes coming. Can't even see that cold front yet. It's coming in from the north, up from Canada. It's going to make some pretty fast tracks to get into Central Florida late into Monday and especially into Tuesday, when you'll start to see that change in the weather picture. Now, across the eastern half of the country, things are quiet as well, and then we'll start to see those folks cool down as well. In fact, very mild across much of the eastern half of the country so far in December. But all that is changing as the jet stream makes a dive into our neck of the woods, and that will cool us down. Now, we're in the 30s across the northern tier of the U.S. Very cold air up in Canada. That's going to start to work towards the central part of the country late tomorrow. Then it gets into Florida on Tuesday morning, and that's when we'll see the big change. And the wind's also going to be a factor. We're forecasting a wind around 15 miles an hour on Tuesday. That puts a wind chill advisory possible for us. Stay tuned. It's not been issued yet, but I do think we'll see a wind chill advisory for the kids as they head back to school, and all of us on Tuesday morning. Here's that cold front as we put it into motion. Things quiet for us on Monday, starting to move south as we get into late Monday and into Tuesday. Just not going to squeeze out a whole lot of rain with this thing. Wish we could do that. We certainly could use it, but not going to be a factor for us. And then we'll start to see those winds turn more out of the north as that cold front moves through. through, and that's going to help tap into that very cold air across central Florida. Now, the forecast will keep us again on the warm side as we get into at least the next 24 hours. And then as we get into the next couple of days, you'll start to see things change. Now, tomorrow, 77, above normal for us. That's not anything that we have not seen in the last couple of days. But then as Monday rolls in, look at that. The morning low is 55, a daytime high of 65 degrees, and then 39 is our forecast low on Tuesday morning with a daytime high of only 56. That's not factoring in that wind, so it's going to be very cold out there. 37 for Wednesday morning, 62 is our daytime high, and then 45 for Thursday morning with a daytime high temperature of 68 degrees. We're back to normal Friday and Saturday, but it is definitely going to be chilly over the next couple of days after the new year.
You know, it's kind of interesting. I was actually talking with our floor director, Marty, about that. Everything's a little different this year because the holidays are falling on the weekend.
It is. It's been a little adjustment trying to juggle everything, but you know, at least the weather's been nice.
Absolutely. That's a good thing.
It looks great. Let me show you the planner. Okay. A lot of folks are just now probably getting ready, getting those best studs on for tonight, and the forecast looks great, you guys. 8 p.m. tonight, 64 degrees, not cold. 10 p.m. in the low 60s. As you ring in the new year, again, right around 60 degrees. There's going to be some fog out. We just got a dense fog advisory, so please allow for the drive time. It is going to be a little rough out there, and again, very cold weather coming here Monday into Tuesday, and we will notice temperatures in the 30s for the morning lows and afternoon highs in the 50s. It's going to be downright cold in Central Florida and windy to boot.
All right. Thank you, Leslie, for that. Thank you for joining us right now. We hope you join us tonight at 10 o'clock and then stay with Fox for the Country New Year's Eve celebration. We'll see you in a few hours.
Stay with Fox News because that's going to be up and down for the next couple days. So are the temperatures. We got a little change on the way to start 2012.
Big changes. Yeah, it's nice out there, Keith, but big changes tomorrow and tomorrow night. Folks are getting ready, I hope, for the big chill. Not tonight, though, and not tomorrow. Looking gorgeous across Central Florida for this first day of 2012. We are at 66 degrees in Kissimmee, 59 here in the City Beautiful, 63 in Melbourne, 59 Daytona Beach, and 62 is our current reading in Leesburg. But guarantee you will notice the changes with the weather starting tomorrow. The daytime highs will only be about 10 degrees warmer than it is right now. So it's really going to start to change as we get into the forecast tomorrow afternoon. Live Guardian radar, nice and clear. In fact, this cold front overhead as we speak in our northern areas, but just not really able to tap into the moisture. So there's really no rain with this cold front, but definitely some much colder air. And we're already seeing some watches issued by the National Weather Service. I'll show you that in just a second. So there's the front as we speak, just now starting to move into the northern fringes of Central Florida, moving as we sleep tonight and into tomorrow. A big dome of high pressure moves in, and then this very cold Arctic air mass starts to sink in across Central Florida and really change the landscape here. As I mentioned, precious little rainfall for us. In fact, the whole frontal boundary didn't do whole much along the eastern seaboard. A strong, powerful low pressure center spinning up here, and it's going to draw all that cold Arctic air right over the state of Florida. This will be the coldest air by far we've seen this winter, and really could rival one of the colder weeks we're expecting. We expect below normal temperatures for about 4 days. Here's a look at the current advisories. Now, this is for tomorrow night and into Tuesday. So you see here we've got these watches already issued by the National Weather Service, a freeze watch up for those counties. I do expect those to turn into freeze warnings starting tomorrow night, and then we'll likely see some frost in some of these areas as well. I don't think this will be a long freeze, only a few hours for our northern pockets, but again, it's a big change for us. It's been very warm all winter, and again, things are going to change pretty quickly with this, and we'll get an update from the National Weather Service and let you know how this plays out. But I do expect to see some very cold air for the next couple of days. All right, your weather headlines. That major cold front is coming. Temperatures are tumbling into the 20s, and a gradual warm up is expected this week. But again, it's going to take a while. We'll expect those numbers to stay in the lower range of the 30s through to, Wednesday, and then we'll start to see things warm up after that. Now, as we get into the forecast, I think this will start to gradually switch over to a more tranquil weather pattern for us. Our highs today were in the 70s. If we could actually switch to Weather One, if you can get a chance, we'll take a look at the lows for us. Thank you. 52 is our forecast for tonight, 53 in Daytona Beach, 58 in Titusville, and then back across the metro areas in the mid-50s, 54 Claremont, 54 in Leesburg, and 53 in Ocala. Now, as we get into the forecast tomorrow, again, things not changing too much for us. first thing first in the morning, but then they'll change pretty dramatically by the afternoon. Here's your daytime highs. Low 60s, 61 for Ocala, 63 for Claremont, 64 in Orlando. And a quick look at the 5-day forecast. We'll take the numbers. Again, very, very cold across central Florida. There you see it. 64 is our high tomorrow. Windy. 51 is the high on Tuesday. And then gradually warming, Keith, by the end of the week.
All right, we're talking weather. This weather headline right here says it all. Winter is finally here in Central Florida.
Here. You are going to know it.
Oh, wow.
Folks are going to need the sweaters. Wow. All of the things you got to bring out, the regalia.
Too.
Bring it.
Yeah.
It is going to be cold, you guys. Major cold front coming through tonight as we speak. Temperatures are going to tumble into the 20s in our northern counties, and a gradual warm up is expected this week, but it's going to take several days. It is going to be very cold for Central Florida over the next 4 days or so. Right now, Guardian radar is nice and clear. The cold front actually technically over us as we speak. Not able to get any rain out of this thing for us, unfortunately, but there it is, continuing to push towards the south. We already have freeze watches up for our northern areas. I expect those to turn into freeze warnings tomorrow night, and we will see this long stretch of cold weather last until Wednesday, and then we'll start to see things warm up after that. Cold air is spilling in from Canada, and this very cold Arctic air mass continues to get it to act together. So in the next 24 hours, it really generates and starts to spill in across the eastern half of the country and over for Florida. This will be the coldest air we've seen in quite a while. As we put our computer model into motion, there it is as it pushes south tonight. A little bit of cloud coverage tonight, otherwise sunshine for tomorrow as high pressure builds in, and then we're going to start to see that tumble in the temperatures. In fact, temperatures right now are in the upper 50s. We're only going up about 6-7 degrees as we get into the hour-by-hour forecast. And here it is, 57 at 8 a.m., 60 at 11, 64 at 2 p.m., and then the 50s, 5 p.m. and 8 p.m. Temperatures will really start to tumble once the sun goes down. We've got patchy areas of frost tomorrow night and Tuesday. This is Monday night and Tuesday night. We expect temperatures in the 20s and 30s up in our northern counties, and the metro areas in the upper 30s and low 40s with pockets of frost. And I do expect to see some possible conditions where we could see some damage up in those northern counties. We'll keep you updated on that. Meanwhile, temperatures are expected in the 50s tonight, and there's that big change. 64 tomorrow and windy. Overnight low Tuesday, 36. Daytime high, get this, of only 51. 30 degrees for the morning low on Wednesday with a high temperature of 58, and then 60s and gradually the 70s, Keith, by the end of the week.
All right, we got a lot to talk about here on weather.
Yeah, we got a big game tomorrow downtown. It looks good. It's going to be chilly if you're headed to the Citrus Bowl. Take the jackets. At 1 p.m. at kickoff, 61 is where we'll be. Mostly sunny, chilly. Winds out of the northwest at 10 to 15 miles an hour, and it stays chilly all day. Our daytime high is only 64. Winds are with us through tomorrow. Look at that low on Tuesday morning, Keith. 36. The daytime high only 51. Wind chills are expected all day Tuesday and Wednesday morning low of 30. Bring the pets indoors. Keep them warm the next couple of days. Gradually warming up into the 70s after that.
That 30 is not a typo.
It is not a typo. I checked it twice.
All right, almost as cold as it gets around here. Thanks, Leslie. Appreciate it. Happy New Year. TMZ weekend up next. Make it a great week.